Hi guys, Keith Larkenberg Farms. Just finished fixing an irrigation issue I had. These timers like to really glitch out in this type of weather, so it hasn't been running for a while. So I had to kind of completely redo the irrigation header because, in case you haven't noticed, it is hot out here. Very, very hot. But hey, that is not what I'm here to talk about today. Today, I want to kind of focus in on the farming business in general. Over the beginning of this season, up until about now, I've really noticed with our farm in particular that sales have just not been what they should be. Quite literally, this year, our farmers market sales are a third of what they've been in the past season. This really got me to questioning things about if it's just our farm, our locality, or if this is a broader issue actually going on. So I want to talk to you today about how I'm going to address that and where I kind of think we're heading with it. So we'll walk around and we'll talk about it. This season, our farmers market sales have been horrible. We did switch locations with the market as a whole, not just us moving somewhere else. And that might have had a little bit to do with it. But then I think pretty much everybody figured out where it's at, and they still were horrible. We were, and still are, way off. We were 30% off. Last weekend's the best we've had, which is almost average for what we do in the very early season. So it really got me thinking, is this just something specifically to our area, or is it because they moved the market? So the first step is I went over to the Market Garden Success page, which I'm sure a lot of the viewers are familiar with. Great resource, a lot of good people there, really good community of market gardeners. And I asked a simple question: my sales suck. Do anybody else's? Got a lot. I mean, a lot of people that said yes, yes, and yes. A lot of people 25, 50% off. There were some doing better. Those are specifically out to a certain region, which I'll get to here in a second. And then someone came across with, hey, wouldn't it be great if we actually had a survey out here to kind of find out what the market garden community is doing as a whole? And that's where I started to kick back to my past. I worked in a weights and measures laboratory for 4 years, trained in statistical analysis, data collection, all the fun stuff from National Institute of Standards and Technology. And it got me thinking, hey, I might actually be able to collect this data and I know what to do with it. So I decided to put together a simple survey with multiple choice questions and answers to kind of get a bearing on the health of how the market garden community is actually doing as a whole. Not really particular on, exact numbers or anything, but more of ranges and kind of get a feel for what it's kind of looking like. First time I released it through a couple different pages I'm associated with and the Market Garden Success page. First thing out of the gate, had 4 or 5 people just, who are you and what do you want to do with my data? I'll answer that real quick. I'm Keith with Larkenberg Farms. I don't want to do anything with your data. The only reason I have to collect name, farm name, and email address is simply to ensure we don't have duplicates in the system. I want to run this as professionally and scientifically as possible, and I don't want double entries and false data and things like that. Also, the email is very important because that's how I'll actually report the results of the survey. I'm not going to report this as a whole to everybody out there because I want there to be a reason to actually go through the effort and fill it out. It's only like a 10-minute survey. It takes no time whatsoever. But I want people to feel vested in what they're doing and try to give the most honest results possible so they can be part of it. Back when I worked in the Weights and Measures lab, we actually had one of the labs that did this every year. This is the one thing at our annual meeting I was always super excited about because we could kind of see how we were comparing to everybody else. And I feel that it's super important to actually do that so you can build a better farm in general and better processes and start to learn from others. Without knowing, how good or poor other people are doing, you really don't know how to gauge yourself. So that's back to the basically the Facebook trolls here that tried to portray it as I'm trying to steal your data to sell to somebody or whatever. That is not the case. Again, it's just specifically to report the results back. The second part was, if, and I was hoping it was just an if I really discovered that the market gardening community as a whole was really struggling, we're also going to need help to get the information out there to the correct people, the correct agencies, NCRS, those kinds of people that can help build our small farms in their beginning stages. I ran the first round of surveys. I got decent results on it, enough to make somewhat of a substantial conclusion, but not like a 95% conclusion rate. That gets a lot more trickier. I really won't go into that. But I did get some good data. And the most shocking thing I found was we have a lot of farms that are down this year, but the majority of the farms that are like 50,000 and under, or in between a scale of when they're actually scaling up for employees and infrastructure projects, they are not profitable. And that is one of the biggest, I think, takeaways I've gotten so far. I've since published it a second time. If you're ever on the Market Garden Success Group, you've probably seen it. It's actually featured up at the top right now. And that's where I've gotten a lot better response. I've gotten more information to work with. So I can better try to figure out, what's going on and actually work through the data and kind of figure out, not only what the community needs as a whole, but the health of the community as a whole. Finally, the point of this video is I need your help specifically. I know if you're watching this, you're most likely a market gardener. Look at all the grass coming in. That's horrible. That's my biggest issue out here. Shade cloth up on the lettuce. But hey, back to the point. I need your help. I need more information to get a better feel of how the market gardening community as a whole. Again, we're just trying to collect the data, we as in me, and interpret it and basically get it out there to the other people in the community. If we do actually need more assistance, we will have data to back it up. And then with the help of other people, there's a question there if you'd like to help, we can actually disseminate this to the right people and maybe get some change out of it. I'd like to run this every single year, about the midsummer when people really have a bearing of how their farm's doing and how it's going. I might do one at the end of the season to kind of get a bearing of the overall part of the season, but we'll see. It's still in its infancy. I'm just now basically getting all the wrinkles out of the program, because what I think and then what other people think is completely different. So I missed a few multiple choice answers at the beginning, but I really have it going really good now. The link will be in the notes below. It'll probably be about the only thing down there because I typically don't put too much. I'll put it first, and I do my little description that talks in circles to get YouTube to actually show my videos to people, because I think it's important. I'm out here specifically to teach, educate, and help the community. I'm not out here trying to make a profit off of it. If it goes one way or another, it really doesn't bother me. After I build out this whole entire spreadsheet and data interpretation program, which will probably take me, 15 to 20 hours. Every year, all I have to do is load the new data set in, and it'll pop out the results, the graphs, and put together a pretty simple report. So that's really where my goal is with it. There's an empty tunnel. Greenhouse shade. Hey, I can see again. This is awesome. So that's where we're going. I really need your help. I want you to go on there, fill out the survey, do it as honestly as possible. It's not that complicated. Very broad range questions. Only takes about 5, maybe 10 minutes at most. And then share it with others. Get as many people out there to recognize what's going on, because I really believe with all the inflation is that we are seeing a lot of decrease in spending, which includes the farmers markets. It's so hot out here. My recording device is now overheating. So, as always, hope y'all liked what you saw today. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all. Have a good day.